It's understandable that NBA players experience a dip in performance now and again, especially towards the end of their careers. What's super frustrating for fans and coaches, though, is when a player is hyped up to perform well for the new season, only for their performance to nosedive, and they end up disappointing everyone. Here are 5 NBA players who sucked unexpectedly in 2020. Al Horford. The Philadelphia 76ers signed Al Horford as a free agent prior to the 2020 season, much to the disappointment of rival Boston Celtics fans. Horford had helped the Celtics to overcome Philly multiple times in regular season and playoff games for the previous 3 years. Rather than continue to compete against him, the 76ers offered Horford a lucrative $97 million 4-year contract to become part of a literal Big Three, involving Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. It also offered him the chance to play in his preferred role of power forward, as opposed to playing at center. Horford was seen by many as the missing piece of the 76ers puzzle that would finally propel them towards a shot at the championship. With the Celtics in 2019, over 68 games, Horford averaged 13.6 points, shooting 53.5% from the field and 36% from beyond the arc. He also shot a career-best 82.1% from the free throw line. While his defensive numbers have stayed mostly the same in Philly, his shooting numbers have gone way down. Through 60 games this season, Horford is averaging 12 points exactly, despite taking marginally more shots each game. His field goal percentage is at a career low, 44.2%, and he's down to a 33.7% success rate from three-point land. Even at the charity stripe, his numbers have suffered, dropping almost 7% to 75.3%. Worryingly for Philadelphia, this suggests that the issue may be a mental or physical one, rather than just a change of surroundings or position. When the season was halted in March, Boston was sitting in 3rd place, having clinched a playoff place, while the 76ers were still vying for one back in 5th. Draymond Green. When the Golden State Warriors lost star players Klay Thompson and Steph Curry due to injury for the start of the 2020 season, veteran power forward Draymond Green was expected to take up some of the slack. His numbers should have risen, but in fact the opposite happened. He only contributed 8 points per game, which was up from 7.4 the previous season, but it took him almost one more shot per game to accomplish. His overall field goal percentage fell from 44.5% to 38.9%. There wasn't much hope from beyond the arc either, as his three-point shooting decreased from 28.5% to 27.9% from 3. When you consider that his rebounding and assist numbers went down by almost 1 per game too, Draymond has had a very disappointing season. It's no wonder that the Golden State Warriors had the league's worst record at just 15 wins and 50 losses by March. Blake Griffin. Viewed as a pivotal player and a leader on a young Detroit Pistons roster, Blake Griffin underwent knee surgery prior to this season. It caused him to miss the first 10 games, and he has only played 18 games in total so far. By the looks of things, when he does get time on the court, his knee is still troubling him. Far from the leaping slam-dunking Griffin of the recent past, he is attempting a dunk only once every 3 games, which is the lowest amount of his career to date. His rebound and shooting numbers are also staying down. In 2019, Griffin scored 24.5 points per game, averaged 7.5 rebounds, and 4.4 assists. So far this season, he's at 15.5 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 3.3 assists per game. Of course, he is getting less playing time. 6.5 minutes less per game, in fact. But his shooting percentage is a real concern. His overall field goal percentage is sitting at 35.2%, 11% lower than last season, and his three-point shooting is down 12% to a miserable 24.3%. Blake is usually an unstoppable force in the paint, but in the restricted area, he is only scoring 56% of the time. Piston fans may be quietly thankful for the extra rest and conditioning afforded to Griffin by the current lockdown. Mike Conley. Coming off a resurgent 2019 season with the Memphis Grizzlies, experienced point guard Mike Conley joined the Utah Jazz, who were better poised to make a deep playoff run. Expected to relish this new competition, Conley instead saw an unexpected decline in his statistics. while playing almost 5 minutes less per game than at Memphis, and finding himself competing against a more consistent Jordan Clarkson for playing time. Mike's points per game dropped from 21.1 to 13.8. His shooting efficiency went down from 43.8 to 40.5% overall, and even his free throw percentage declined 5% to 79.5%, his lowest since 2011. Conley assisted on fewer buckets, 4.3 compared to 6.4, and stole the ball less with 0.8 steals per game rather than 1.3. Utah may start to regret their choice of veteran point guard if Mike Conley does not turn things around soon. Lauri Markkanen displayed plenty of talent and improvement during his first 2 seasons with Chicago. He emerged as a bright spark during the Bulls' current rebuild. However, Lauri's progression took a big step back in 2020. Some of this may be attributed to a change in management and coaching style, but Markkanen still remains accountable for parts of his own performance. Though not by much, in almost every important category, Markkanen put up worse numbers than last season, and often the worst of his short career so far. For a player expected to make a leap this season, that's unsatisfactory. Lauri's overall shooting percentage decreased marginally for a second straight year, down another 0.5% from 43 to 42.5. Beyond the arc, he shot 34.4% compared to 36.1% the year before. His most dramatic drop-off in shooting came at the free throw line though, where his percentage dropped from 4.8 down to a career low of 82.4%. All of this translated to 14.7 points per game for Markkanen in 2020, exactly 4 points fewer than the previous season. He also rebounded a lot less, grabbing 6.3 as opposed to 9. The 22-year-old Bull has youth on his side, but if the downward trend continues, he may not be long for the big stage, especially as part of a Chicago team that changes more often than most. Are there any NBA players you think haven't lived up to expectations this season? Let us know in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more NBA content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.